Hey Travis, hey Carl. Let's get my audio pack installed. No gloves. Better get my gloves installed. Hey ITC. Hey, g'day Steve. How's it going? AJ Moran, Idaho, USA. Up nice and early up there, I see. Hey Nick Linnell. Happy New Year. We're actually about, what is the time now? We're still about 25 minutes away from the new year in this part of Australia, because we don't have daylight savings, because daylight savings is a terrible cheat. They did that just so they could get to the new year before me. It was all because of me. Okay, we've got Stockholm and Harry. I'm not going to try and pronounce your last name, Harry, I'm sorry, but yeah, that one's probably a bit beyond me. Hey Nelson. Yes, you got me at the beginning here. And Giffany here, potatoes. Hey Soderbridge. How's it going over there in Finland? Alright, so this is an old job. It's one that basically I gave up on. It's an iPhone 6, it had a lot of water damage, it's doing about 25 milliamp draw. And I didn't feel like just sitting around waiting for the night to pass, so I thought I'd come down here and try my luck. Who knows, maybe I'll get lucky, maybe it'll just be like every other night and I won't get lucky. But if you don't at least try, there's no way of getting any success. So also I got my new multimeter leads. I got 1.5 meter and I got 2 meter, and I think the 1.5 meter is going to do the job nicely. I can, use them here and they don't snare on the hot air station much. Audio sync is out, of course, naturally. Okay, let's fix the audio sync before I go. Okay, let's see how that goes. Hey ZX, and 3X is here, g'day Greg. Greg M's here too. And Rodrigo, that's good now. I really would love to know what is doing that on the audio sync. It's a major pain, to say the very least. Now, I do have a passcode for this one, so that's going to be nice. The first thing I have to fix is my octopus lead, funnily enough, because my iPhone 6 octopus lead got damaged. This is it here. Okay, so disconnect that. What happened is the FPC that goes into the dock, it just it fell off, so we'll have to fix it up before I do anything else. I was trying to think, the hardest thing about fixing these things is the fact that they don't want to sit still. Switch to overhead. Hey, you can probably maybe hear in the background, hey Kristen, here in the background there's music going on, and that's going to go all night probably. Okay, I think I can quite likely work with it like that. Let's see, here we go. Yeah, that's a right royal, a little bit of a mess. Hey Ian, yeah, Sydney, you guys are cheats with your daylight savings, jumping ahead of us Queenslanders. I suppose since you never win the state of origin, I guess we've got to give you something. Hey Homer, how's it going? Fume hood. I also got the power bricks to power my LED work light and the screen, the monitor that Jim gave me. So now I don't have any weird contraptions, and I've been able to take away the double power units that I had, because some of you have noticed that I had 3 power supplies. Now I've just got the one. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the other power supply. I guess I'll put it away somewhere along with all the rest of them. Thank you, Neil. All the best to everybody too. Hey Metabolus. Alright, so I need a replacement one of these, so I'm just going to steal it from another iPhone 6. Seems like the right thing to do. It's not too badly mashed up. It's got a little bit of corrosion on it, but it's not too bad. New Year's feels like an eternity. Still not in the mindset. Yeah, I'm really not feeling it myself. So I'm more than happy just to let this one slip by. To be fair, I pretty much do that every New Year's lately. The last New Year's I did any celebrating with probably was 10 years ago now, at least. Hey AJ Moran, the only trouble with these power supplies is they're big and heavy, so they don't ship so well. And I can guarantee you the moment I get rid of it, I'll need it. I just won't have it on my desk. Oh, that was easy. It's actually quite easy to work with the connectors on these FPC cables. At least getting them off. Getting them back on, I must admit, is a little bit more tricky. Hey, STK. Hey, Warren Stamps. Man, spending a lot of time saying hello to people here. Yes, it's a good thing. It was better before I touched it, damn it. Thank you, Christina. Christina's Reclaimed Electronics. Christina, have you been on the channel before? Because my apologies if you haven't. I haven't had due noticing of you. I need to get myself a foot switch for that fan assembly. Oh, that'll route it properly so that I can just turn the knob. Hey, Mr. Loco Musical. That's an interesting name. Hey, Tranquil the Cat. And Dragon's here as well. Wow, I've got everybody. This is a real pumpin' happening party here. Let's bring in 2020. You will be able to hear the fireworks slightly from here. Hopefully the alignment on this is sufficiently good. And hopefully all those pins are connected. That's the other trick. Yeah, Metabolus, I'll be very intrigued to see if it's any better. I'm sure it should be. Because I look at the way his flux on stream behaves, and I compare it to the way mine behaves, and it's like, yeah, they're different beasts. Just not sure if these two... I have to touch those up a little bit. Lewis has been nice about your software. I'm suspicious. Yeah, it's thrown me a little bit as well. I think he actually wants the new features that are coming out. So it's time for him to lay on the love. Mr. Locomotive, of course, an interesting fact about that song is, you know, most people know Kylie Minogue did a cover of it back in the, what was it, the 80s? I can't remember. Her first sort of real claim to fame, aside from Neighbours. Not that you can really say Neighbours is a claim to fame. I guess for some people it is. And I did not want to actually run solder onto the side of the thing, because that means it's not going to plug into the socket. So now I have to incrementally just take little bits away until it's clear. That was an accident. It certainly wasn't intentional. I may have to use a tiny bit of wick just to get the last bits off. I wanted to go over the legs with the iron because the backing flex does not have any real strength. All the load bearing is done by the solder joints, and you use this connector a couple of times and it's going to die. It's going to start cracking those solder joints. So that's why I wanted to put some extra solder on there to give them a little more strength, but I didn't want to actually slop up a whole bunch of solder on the end there. I'm looking for my wick holding tweezers, my self-closing tweezers. I'll find them eventually. Could have sworn I had them the other night. I'll find every other set of tweezers except the one I want. Oh, yes, I found you. Yes, hopefully. Well, I think the big difference with the leaded solder is the fact that it's got more ductility, so it'll tolerate the movement a lot more. Okay, that's better. We can put a teeny tiny bit down there. Okay. Whereas lead-free solder tends to be somewhat more brittle in most cases. So you flex it a few times and then it just snaps through. Travis here, the transparent feature, I have to look into it a bit more and see how practical it is to simulate that. Okay, I'm looking like I've got some solder on the other side of it. This really has not turned out to be as quick as I wanted. Oh no, it's okay. Yeah, you have to be careful adding features. Sometimes it can turn into a complete disaster. And you end up investing a lot of time and money into it, only to find that it really doesn't end up working out that well. So I will have a look at it. Hey Tom George, hey MicroFix, Dirk Unterweger. Okay, where's this board? Let's see if this actually fits now. It appears it does. That's good. So 4 volts, got nothing. We have an immediate 24 milliamp draw. And it jumps up to about 70 milliamp and just stays there. That could be DFU actually. Please don't be DFU. If this is DFU, then I'll be very upset because basically it's the end of the road already. Distance, I use the 0.7. I find the 0.5 requires you to have a giraffe neck. I suppose the other thing you could do is you could put a reinforcement plate on the back of this. But I would probably do 2 plates, or even just 1. And I would merely put it above the back of the FPC connector. If you put it between the two, it may make it difficult to remove the device, the connector. Alright. Well, I guess I'll verify to see if this is in DFU mode or not. I have a feeling it's not. In fact, I'd be very surprised because it doesn't even have an RF PMIC. Oh man, I've got to put an RF PMIC on this? Oh man. This is not going to be fun. Question to the experts. Do you need RF PMIC to boot? Maxi, these are I got this from Union Repair. It's I don't know how do you pronounce that. Qian Li or Qian Li. I'm pretty sure it's Qian Li. The iPower Pro. Just make sure it covers the models that you want, because they don't all cover all the models of the phones. Let's see, Mick Linnell. Hey Penov, welcome. Mick Linnell, you're saying I need the RF PMIC or I don't? What's giving it? Oh, it's Penov, it's not an L. Okay. I guess we can all be a bit silly. It is the evening of New Year's. Now the reason why I'm plugging this in is because sometimes you can get away with a bit of a idle draw on the board, but it will still boot for you. I'm not saying it will. I just realized because I put this connector back on, I actually didn't need to put it back into a case. In fact, it's makes it difficult that way. Oh well. $60 milliamp, that's really not going anywhere. And once it goes onto the 60 milliamp, that's it. That's the end of the road for it. It doesn't do anything after that. Andrew Melky. All these people are going to be very upset at how I'm butchering their names. The Boilif FA multimeters yesterday. Which ones are those? I can't say I've actually seen them. Pinov, do you have all the gear required to do streaming now? I know you should have all the gear for repairs, but I don't know if you've got all the gear for streaming. Or at least some sort of streaming. Hey David Legault. Nice to see you. Meekle. Okay, thank you, Andrew. You don't have anything, Pinov. I thought you had some cameras. What gear do you... what gear are you looking for or wanting? I don't know if I can do anything because of my distance from you, but good God, no wonder this didn't really do anything. I mean, it's a complete train wreck around here. I think what I'll do is I'll pull up everything I know that... Oh great, and I've got solder balls squeezing out there. Yeah. That's a right real mess, this one. It looks like we've got up here too. Obviously, audio IC has been removed. And if you're wondering, yes, it was me that did it. This has probably been sitting in my workshop for 2.5 years now. Hey, Ludlow. KMS. Giffany. Ah, yes, Giffany versus Giffany. Haha, yeah. Yeah, Rodrigo, but I mean, I just don't know if the PMIC has, because the PMIC may actually, does that power the EEPROM? Because if it powers the EEPROM, that kind of means it will be required. I suppose it's easy for me to work that out. Okay. And that's getting powered by LDO 11, which is that. And let's see, LDO 11, where do you come out of? Damn it, it's aliased everywhere. But I'm not sure who generates LDO 11. KMS, yeah, this is one of my doesn't matter if I blow it up type ones. E1202. Yep, gotta admit, I'm not sure where this is coming from. I would say I probably should put it back on. I have imagined it will have some needed function. But I'm going to have a look under Tigris as well as the Vibe. The Vibe's being corroded here, and there's an I2C line that goes under here, and it often gets corroded out as well. And it just stops it from booting. Though usually it lets it cycle a little bit. It'll do like 2 or 3 steps, and it'll just keep doing that, as opposed to the hard stop that it's got right now. Yeah, a lot of this is just giving me a chance to learn things, experiment a bit more. I mean, an iPhone 6, no one's yeah, there's not a lot of money in it. So this is really more of a case of, here's something you might want to... Yeah, that one looked actually okay under there. Let's have a look at the underside. Yeah, you're not corroded. So I can put this straight back on. I guess the main thing is that I've got this 24 milliamp idle draw, which I shouldn't have. Flippity flip. Whoops, I just realised now I can see that. Sorry. Bottom right. Hey, fixing things. I'll have to look over that feature a bit more. I didn't quite get to completely look at the video because I was in the middle of dealing with the kitty cats and everything else, but I'll have a look and see what I can do. I do recall you mentioning it in the past, but it was just one of those things that it's like, oh, that's going to be a far off project. There's no real point in me putting Vibe back on, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, fixing things. Like I said, I know sometimes I come across as a bit dismissal of a lot of things, but it's a case of, well, I've got so many balls I need to juggle that sometimes I've just got to shut down my brain before it runs off on things that it shouldn't. I mean, that said, I did just spend 2 days getting the icons on this thing working. So like, see these icons up here? I just spent 2 days getting that to work, which seems a little ridiculous, but it is what it is. But I'm happy with them. Next thing I'm going to do is fix up the rotational offsets, but yeah, I'm not juggling yours. You can look after your own. Let's see what's under Tigris. There's probably some people who are going to be freaking out that I'm not covering up the RAM, but I mean not the RAM, the flash. But really, the amount of heat that you got to put into the board to get that flash to move, bobble out, is quite a bit more than what I'm putting in. And I can barely get Tigris to move off. Yeah, Christian, it's like being back at grade 8 at high school again. Very immature. Doesn't stop us. I'm an idiot. Alright. If you're new to working on iPhones, one thing you got to watch out for and keep a check of in your mind is that once you've taken off a part, the board stays quite hot for a while, which you understand. But what you got to remember is these pads here, because they are very low melt solder, they will stay molten for a very long time. And if you go along and do what I just did, which is to put the alcohol over, often what can happen is your brush will start flicking this solder all over the place, and you'll get this lovely splatter effect everywhere. I got lucky, I managed to stop myself before too late, but just goes to show it's easy enough to do. Yeah, that resistor there looks like the pad's probably gone underneath it. Not sure what that one's for. Travis, yeah, I mean, I appreciate the offers for people to try and help code these things, but at the end of the day, it's just something I code myself. Let's see, that's a capacitor on VCC, so that's not going to matter. we can ignore that one. It's just, it's a lot more work to try and bring someone in to do assisted coding. The best way that I do cooperative coding with anybody is in the form of modules. Like, say, a good example is file formats. So if people write a file format decoder, like if I commission someone to write a file format decoder, say I need some, whatever, what I'll pay people to do it for Open Boardview. And then once it's done for Open Boardview, I can then take it from there and then adapt it again so that it works for Flex Boardview. Yeah, you're okay. Let's see if we've gotten rid of that 24 milliamp drawer anyway. There's some pretty dodgy caps in there. Is the short on VCC or V-bound? It's not actually a short, that's the trouble. Oh, you mean is the drain though. I guess that's what you're really trying to say. Because I wouldn't really call it a short. Just like a little piffly 24 milliamp. Now, of course, if it was a heart pacemaker, then yeah, that would be considered a pretty catastrophic short and you'd be dead in a couple of hours. And we know, oh wait, this catches me every damn time. Yeah, we've still got it. 21 milliamp. And given that it's dropped because it's hotter, means it's probably something silicon. So we'll find out what side this whole fault is on by removing the little blob that bridges between the input and the system. Hey Gigabyte World, oh, you can always start coding. Nothing gonna stop you there. Damn it, except a moron with a lack of flux. Then there goes the fireworks, so it's obviously midnight here. Yeah, here we go, 2020, and I'm fixing a rather pointless iPhone 6. I hope that's not going to be a, what do you call it, a premonition type thing. Not premonition, I can't think of the word. The other thing I have to be careful with, Travis, is that I can't afford to have sort of invested interests building up. Alright, well, it's on the VCC side, it's not on the battery side. So it's, yeah, VCC main side. AJ Moran, yeah, coding would be something good for you to do like that. Well, in fact, most of this probably would. Okay, so we've got a 24, that's it. You are getting, I've got to find a new way of handling all my alcohol. Now I'll come up with something. Yeah, these keep getting knocked over, no matter where I go. Like over here, I've got the keyboard and the screens. Over here I've got the microscope. I don't really have a lot of room else. I need like a little a slotted holding box just off the edge of my desk, and I can just drop them in like little pockets. Something tells me, I was going to say precursor, but I'm not sure if that's quite the word I was after. Anyway. Stay off the Flinders Highway. Oh yeah, heck yeah. Possible Tigris. Tigris is off, so we can't blame Tigris. Hey Heinrich Dixon. Alright, so 24 milliamp. I mean, that could be anything. Absolutely anything. It could be, Well, basically anything on that VCC, like I said, it could be, what's that, your chestnut or your chestnut? Man, do not remember my things. 1602. Oh, that's strobe. Okay, so I can actually lose that. That there's chestnut, isn't it? Or are you another strobe? No, you're chestnut, yeah. You can tell I don't do iPhones every day, yeah. So we can lose strobe without any problems. And we've got corrosion here, so yeah, there's always a possibility. Like I said, the problem is we've got corrosion everywhere. And it's interesting that when we do try to get things started, it goes up to 70 milliamps, or not 70, 60 or so, and then just stays there. Backlight boost RC. I'm just trying to look at where the where the corrosion was bad. This is, like I said, not going to be a highly interesting type of stream. It's just going to be a case of, well, what can I learn, if anything, or find? Just clear out that muck. At least the PMIC area has been fairly well not affected. It's mostly all down here. Where's that blue gunk? Is that replace TriStar? Anyone want to play the have a bet game? Is the bent over? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I was fairly conscious of not doing that. There, so that's pretty clear under there. Well, I guess we'll put our little bridge back on. Makes it easier for us to get power into it. Yeah. Well, no, it's good to check that though. I agree. Could easily have been a dumb thing to do. 24 kind of makes me think it's I2C somewhere. I made a little Hershey kiss. One of the lines being held, high or low. I'm fairly sure. Now I'm disinclined to pull that up. And this is where you should get your diode mode readings and compare them. Well, KMS, that would be the ones that are on the VCC line, certainly. Like I said, 24 milliamp, really, if a cap's causing that, then it probably isn't going to be causing problems. this really does feel like something's not getting started. Like either because... what is that junk down there? Okay, it's just... it's that grainy CPU heat transfer junk. Uh, 24 milliamp, how are you even gonna... that's a case of you have to sit there and wait an hour or so before that heats up enough. Well, for the sake of practice, maybe I should clean up this and actually try and put the PMIC back down. I mean, why not? And what's your thermal camera doing in Queensland? It's not the sort of thing I'd lend out. I guess you're a more generous, giving person than I am. The biggest problem with the RF PMIC here that we're going to replace is the fact that if you damage that EEPROM, it's all over. So you may as well just pack up, go home, don't bother. Not too sure how many of us learn the hard way about that EEPROM. Hey Swiftwick, it should be a good year. This year, since I cleared all my credit card debts, and I've increased the price of FlexBV, and I've got a lot more mail-in jobs coming in, I'm really hoping by a bit before June I should be able to put an application to buy this place. There's some gnarly stuff went on over there. And if I can get this place under my name, then that will make life considerably easier in many ways. When you're super young, you don't usually, well, not everyone cares quite so much about having their own home or anything like that. I mean, you think about it, but once you get into your mid-late 40s, you start, if you haven't got your house by then, you really do start to panic a bit. If you've got, if you're married and you've got dependents and things like that. So yeah, it really starts to weigh on the mind a bit. Hey Pedro, good to see you. How's your kitty cat going? She giving you hell because of the fact that you don't take her outside every 10 minutes? Credit card debt is as bad as EEPROM. Certainly is. I mean, sometimes you weigh up and you decide, alright, we need it for whatever reason, but for anything that's pretty much non-absolutely essential, yeah, certainly avoid it if you can. Well, I guess the first thing I'm going to do is clean up that, make it look pretty, and then reball one. .24 on the thermal. Which thermal camera you got? Hey GGWP. I thought I would do something useful with my New Year time. We're gonna need some more flux. took the BVPMU out of a working phone. It's still booting. Ah, great. Thanks, Rodrigo. Kind of kill the prospect for me. Alright, well, we'll clean this up then anyway. But since Rodrigo says that it works even without it, then I guess that eliminates the need to do it. I really need to create a list of all the... I know Jessa did this sometime in the past. Of all the items you can take off each iPhone and have it still boot. Because for sometimes for liquid damage it's just the easiest thing to do. Mr. Local Musical, well, it was probably, I think, about 2 years with Open Boardview after the original Chlorodite version. And then another 3 months of coding to do the PDF coupling, which basically was, at that point, the key aspect of Flex Boardview. And that was coming up 2 years ago now. And while I've taken some minor breaks, overall I've been adding bits and pieces of code to it constantly. So yeah, you could say about 2 years of coding now. Damn it, this is really starting to irritate me. Fixing things, okay. Enjoy. Thanks for the information. I'll hopefully get some headway with this. That bridge was taking far too long to clear out, so I thought I'd just clear it out like that. Alright. Well, I'm sort of running a little bit in the dark here then. Let's see what that part was for. And that's just general decoupling, so that doesn't really matter. I should create another open board view thing, open broadcaster thing here. Add PDF. Okay. What? Sorry folks, won't be long. Okay. Alright. Look at it. 24 million. Where are you, you little so-so? I know there's solder balls there, but they're not a problem. I should start looking up the I2C stuff. So I want to check all these lines, make sure those resistors are intact and in place. So this one, a 302. Okay. They pretty much should be, because they're all on the unaffected side, but it only takes one. Hey Cormac, nice to see you. Alan Research from North Minnesota at -20. Blimey, yeah, that's cool. Literally. Okay, so 2.2k and you're the third one in. And I need resistance mode. Gallery 13 base is a 24 milliamp drain on VCC main. Okay, so it's showing 714, which is actually a little bit low for what I would have expected, but we'll try the next. 303, which is the second one. It'll be interesting to see if this is the same. Yeah, so this is 1.8. Now I would have expected this one to be much the same. But at 715, that's low. It's about half the... The multimeter link is a bit too cheap. Swiftrick, which one do you mean? I'm just going to get myself another iPhone 6 and compare. If I can find a working one. Suppose it doesn't really matter if it's working or not. Oh, great. I want a 6 and I've got 6S's all over the place now. Seriously? Just trying to find one that hasn't been butchered too badly. No, you're 6 plus, 6 plus, 6 plus. Butchered. Butchered. Shield still intact. Shame stick. No, can't touch that one. Come on. Oh, maybe this one. Could that possibly be a clock circuit for the EEPROM? Probably. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, this has been butchered fairly hard as well. But it'll give us an idea of just how far off. The third one we want. Yeah, so that's reading 2K, so there's definitely something wrong. Well, I shouldn't say definitely, but it would appear there is something wrong on that particular line. And the reason why you may be hearing a little bit of skepticism is because that would seem a little too convenient that the very first one that I picked up happened to be the line that I want. So yeah, you can imagine I'm a little suspicious of that. Did I check the audio power amplifier? No. Are you talking about the whole audio chip, or because I've taken the audio chip off, I've taken the speaker amp off. I did have the vibe off, but yeah, I didn't bother putting that back on. Anyway, so our first line seems to be a bit of an issue. What is that? That's AP to I2COS clock. So it's chestnut and putting it to backlight drive. Yep, backlight drive. Goddamn neighbours and their damn music. Lewis's multimeter, the B&K one, is actually pretty good. It's not top end, but then again, mine's really not top end. Mine's a complete piece of junk, really. But I can get away with it because of the fact that... Okay, how am I getting 369 there now? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, 369... But now you're showing one. What's going on here? Have I got just a piece of junk, maybe? I'll try measuring it from different points. Yep, it's the third one. How the hell is that showing a short? Oh, because I'm measuring the wrong way. That's a problem. That's now showing the right. That is a real problem. That's because I'm measuring 1v8 to ground. No, gotta measure it this way. .7. Still a little low. Yeah, I think so too, AJ. I think it is trolling me. Okay, we'll try diode mode, see if it goes 0.25 or something like that. Unfortunately, diode mode readings are a lot... Is that moving, or I think it's trolling me still? Kind of feel like it's moving. 0.55. It's definitely lower, and I would not expect it to be lower. That's the problem. If anything, I'd expect them to be pretty damn close, because they're just... Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll clear away that overfill and have a look at and see what we've got there. But I've probably already induced some damage through the fact that I've been probing it. Yeah, Christian, I agree. The about those diode mode measurements, because it really does depend on what sort of current your meter's putting through, and there's just so many variables. Which is why I like to get resistance as well. But certainly diode's faster. Damn, I'd hope the neighbours had gotten sufficiently drunk by now not to care about music. I was hoping they would have gotten into the romance mode by now. Yeah, at least if you get the Lewis BK meter, then there's the software that I've written for it, and you know it works. In spite of his constant complaints otherwise. The reason why he has complaints is because he forgets to turn the meter on to the right mode. Swift record shouldn't really make a difference, because to do a diode node measurement they use a current regulator, a fixed current. So you put through say 1 or 2 milliamp, and then you measure how many volts is required to get to 1 or 2 milliamp, and that's your diode mode. So you hold your current constant up to a certain voltage, in this case like 3 volts, and you see how many volts are required to get there. Most 3-terminal type regulators you can convert into current regulators like that. Came as, yeah, he, hey Alex, good to see you. He does beat out on the software a lot, but you gotta admit the marketing value of that is just simply, you can't beat it. $1K4. Just realised with this little screen now I can actually look and see it. I cannot hold steady on this. Okay, 7. Look at that, it's gone back to 7. Okay, something's getting warm and then dropping to the lower. Yeah, it's definitely tongue-in-cheek with Lewis, but I can understand why he did the apology video, and I mean, it's a good thing he did, because there are a lot of people who will misinterpret the tongue-in-cheek behaviour. I don't think the meter software is off. Oh, right. Well, no, I thought it, oh, I see. Just hang on there. There we go. Thanks. Now I see what you're saying. Keshet, I think he just enjoys having someone he can have fun with. Okay, so let's try this again and maybe not bust up the poor resistor so much. So you see we're back to 700 again. What the... I think I broke my resistor. 1K76. There, here we go, 700. It's a fine balance, Ernest. It really is a fine balance. You know, when they say things like there's no such thing as bad publicity, there's a certain amount of truth to that. Anyway, if we switch over to this, so we can see this resistor here is the one that keeps going between 1.5, 1.6k and then drops down to 730 ohms. And there's only really two chaps on that line, and that's these two, which is the chestnut and the backlight driver. So I've got to wonder why the hell something not right here. That's got to go to U201 as well. Why aren't you showing up on the CPU? AM32. Okay. AM32. APT0. This is could be an example of the crap that I've been having to deal with and why it takes so long to get phone board views out the door. Okay. So we look at that. That's AP underscore T0 I2C 0 SCL, which is clock. And it should be going up into here. So it goes into the PMIC. And here we go. Yep, I was right. Notice that the spelling of TO in this is the letter O and not the number 0. Whereas according to the schematic, it should be the letter O. Stuff like this makes fixing things so much harder. So, knowing that, okay, so yeah, that's gonna make things interesting. So TO, so this is actually the correct one, the letter TO, and what's not correct is the one on the CPU. What was that? AM32 there, and it's also on the PMIC. TriStar, interestingly. So PMIC, TriStar, CPU. Fantastic. So if we had to guess, I can't even blame that. I can't even blame the strobe because it doesn't have one of those lines. This one does, backlight does, but there's not enough damage around here for me to blame backlight, in my opinion. There's really no indications of corrosion damage here either. There kind of was under the PMIC. But I would say maybe I should dig around, pull the TriStar off if anything. Because TriStar does have one of those lines. So I'd say we take that because that's the lowest risk one to start with. Now the iPhone 6 TriStar can be a little bit of fun to get off because it does require a lot more heat than perhaps say the 5S or the 5C. So if you're used to the 5S and 5C, you kind of get a little nervous with the 6 waiting for it to come off. Even the 6S comes off faster, in spite of it being under the shield. Oh, well, I'm not going to get anywhere with 250. It would help if I did 420. I thought that was just a little bit too long. Okay, let's try this now. 420 and 35 air. So it's not a huge amount of air, but it should be enough. That looks pretty damn clean to me. I'll leave it off and I will put power to it and see if our 24 is gone. Can't see it? What happened? Ah, shame. That's okay. We'll get back to it. Needs to say it was perfectly clean under there, unfortunately. Okay, the board's still hot, but it doesn't matter. Oh, did you just draw? Something's changed. It's drawing an amp now. So we've induced some sort of short. Something's gotten upset. Hallelujah. Just what we want. Camera not switching to scope. Yeah, it is now. Don't know what happened there. Sorry, folks. I'm just going to wait for this to cool down a bit. Otherwise I can't find my short in a hurry. I'll just help it with some alcohol. There's no point using freeze spray up here. It just does. You just don't have. You have about 2 seconds of working time freeze spray. It's not enough. And that's with my air conditioner set at 23. Hey Aussie Geek, good to see you, mate. You celebrated already, I guess? Okay, it's cooled off enough. Now I'm actually going to drop the voltage down. It's about 2.8. Because, yeah, 3 watts, roughly. That's quite a bit. No, it's definitely dynamic. Okay. It's time to do the touchy-feely stuff. Yeah, okay, it's under here. It's in the RF section. Find time for my... Damn it. Find time for that to run out. Baseband CPU. It doesn't make a lot of sense though. Does it? What was the first fault? First fault was just 24 milliamp draw. Alright, let's pull the baseband CPU. At least that's one I'm very familiar with. I'll be honest, I'm not sure why the baseband CPU all of a sudden started to cook up like that. Kind of seems a little weird to me. I almost feel like it could have been a random piece of solder got under it or something. It's okay, I did wait for those traces to, the pads to cool off enough. It's got me stumped. Especially when I wasn't even fiddling around with that area much. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, we're back down to 19, so we're not actually making any progress. We're back to where we were. If I go to 4 volts, I bet you it comes up 24. Yeah, we're back to exactly where we were before. So we have not made any progress. Funny enough, I don't mind doing the baseband CPU. I find it fairly therapeutic. God damn, the neighbours have been noisy. So that didn't solve squat. If anything, it just made things more confusing. Well, we can try pull chestnut. Actually, I'll check the I2C lines now. See if there's any improvement. Vladimir, yes, definitely New Year now. 2020, here I am. 356, now something's... It's definitely something silicon, so a chip or a diode that's misbehaving. By the way that it drops like that when it's gets hot. So the only thing we've got left on that I2C line is we've got the PMIC and we've got chestnut and the backlight. So who's up for a gamble? Anyone want to have a guess? Did you remove U1400 and jump it? Because yes, I did. Yep. Where we go? There you go. U1400. Mr. Taylor says PMIC. And AJ Moran says chestnut. Oh wait, you said U1400. Sorry, I thought you said Q14. U1400. Oh right, U1400. I did remove it and I'll put it back on, but I'll remove it again because it didn't make any difference in the end. But we'll get rid of it anyway. Backlight driver just because it's underfield. Ah. I say we take out. Yeah, so this is the stuff that could have caused the baseband to go all funky on me. I'm really disinclined to take that PMIC off. At least it's not underfilled, I guess. Let's just take chestnut because it's easy. Take out the neighbours. Good idea. I like that one, Pedro. So if they don't squeeze any balls out here. Come on, up you come. Hurry up already. The balls are going to start squeezing out. Well, that's all full of junk under there. That's got the classic sort of corrosion junk under it. Look at that. Let's have a look at what those pins do. And lo and behold, I2C. That's the one. Now a lot of people will probably say, oh, we could have told you that right from the start, but then I am doing a bit more of a systematic elimination process and whatnot. Yeah, that's a nice heap of chunky, salty, crusty stuff under those balls. Ah, damn it. Sorry, folks. There we go. Let's clean up that saltiness. In 2020, neighbours have been loud, and we've got salt on our chestnut balls. And look at that, we're back up to where we should have been. Yep. Alright. Yep. And the hell's with Oddbrods? Seems like he's having a bad New Year's. Poor little sad saps. Okay. That's a bit more of a smoking gun. I think that's the one thing that drives me insane is when you can't find a smoking gun to the fault. And you just, yeah, you sort of think, oh, I'm making some improvements, but then it's just not really. And lo and behold, we now have 0 milliamp. So, question is, can this thing even boot at this state? Does it need chestnut? I think I need chestnut, don't I? Yeah, Wayne, I know the. Yeah. It's an excellent recipe song. Okay, let's power up. Now at this stage we do not have any response, so I'm guessing we do need it. Oh man, I need to get better fingernails or something. There we go. So I put a new chestnut on. That's fine. You can boot without it, but I'm not getting any boot now. I'm getting no response. I guess the question is, what else has been damaged by that corrosion? So it's U1503's probably got something under it too. Is that Messer? Okay, so that will mess up the LCD drive. And you can see there's bits of junk all down there too. I'm going to guess that Messer probably has stuff under it as well. Oh, you're welcome, Keith. Not that I really aim to teach per se, I just more do, and then people mock, and then out of all that we eventually get somewhere. Okay, can I just get into there? Yeah. This is where I want my 100 watt iron and just grab it with the 100 tip of the iron. Hey, M6 skills. Yeah, I think strobe has to come off too, for sure. There's nothing under that. Oh well. We'll take it off anyway. I found these iPad shields are quite useful. More so than the normal iPhone ones that I used to use. I'm actually not that worried about the CPU getting too much heat. But it doesn't hurt to deflect a little bit of it. Oh, nice. That was underfilled. Fantastic. Backlight driver, I think I'll leave because that is, yeah, it's underfilled and everything, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Yeah, Wayne, probably would. I guess the question now is, why isn't it actually firing up? Well, it didn't seem to have floated any of those. Well, we don't need this one anyway. Yeah, Wayne, I should too. I just, they seem really shonky. And because remember, we're 230 volts here. So shonkiness tends to come with a new level of danger. Okay, chestnut and mesa we'll grab. I don't know if I've got any of those. Oh, it probably didn't boot because I didn't have TriStar. I'm fairly sure I need TriStar to boot, don't I? Oh, I know why. It wouldn't have sensed anything on the dock. Yes, that's why it would have done that. Okay, well this here, so it wasn't that it wasn't booting, it was just that it couldn't even hear that it was being told to turn on. Now it makes sense. Okay, bottom left. Let a flippin' chip out of it. Damn it. The bugger of a thing's gonna make me put a new TriStar on there. And I know TriStars are cheap, but sometimes you sort of still get a bit frustrated at how many times you end up having to replace the damn things. It's kind of like backlight drivers. Yeah, the LP8550s. Corny, I actually tried doing one the other day, and unfortunately my system couldn't cope. And the problem is that when I'm doing programming, particularly say with Open Boardview, Flex Boardview or whatever, I need about three screens that I want to record, and then as well as that a webcam. And my poor little i3 4160 just does not cope with that for understandable reasons, because they're both, it's 4 high definition sources. It doesn't have the CPU power, and that's why I haven't done any more lately, because every time I try I get around about maybe 1 frame per second if I'm lucky encoding. So until I upgrade my main workstation to something like this one, a 8th generation i5 or similar, it's just not going to happen. And I hate it when I hear that noise, that aggressive pop crackle. Always makes me think of capacitors snapping. Power down. Yep. Mr. Broads is back and he's apologising. Well, I guess we'll see how that goes. Somehow I think it might backlash. We'll see. Maybe it's a new year and new leaf. Look how soft this solder still is. Okay, now we'll see if it actually listens to what's happening onto its dock. Kind of helps if you poor little things have ears. Okay, man, that's hot still. We don't care. Hey, Winfield and John White. Okay, still 0. Hilariously, we just draw 1 milliamp when I press the button. 1 miserable little milliamp. Okay. That is pretty funny, actually. Okay, we'll try that again. Yep, not getting any response on that. The 1 milliamp that I'm seeing come up is probably actually just the current of the switch in this assembly. It's probably like a 10k resistor pulling it up, and when I press the button it draws an extra milliamp to take it down to ground. I don't think it's actually the board that's drawing the current. So I guess we'll just carry on replacing the parts that we've taken off. Oh, Swift Rick, I wouldn't say I got steady hands. It's usually through a bit of trickery, like levering or leaning my hand against something else. I'm glad we didn't take that PMIC off. Wayne Taylor would have been in big trouble. Alright, so let's put chestnut back on and Mesa Boost, since we're gonna need them anyway. See if we can find somewhere to steal them from. Hello. It's our favourite killing man. This means we're gonna have to reball stuff. Man, seriously, I don't have any chestnuts? Come on. I swear I had some chestnuts. I do. Haha. The only trouble with these chestnuts, it means they've got lead-free balls, which means it is going to be a bit of extra heat to get them down. Thanks, Ed. You heading off, eh? Well, you have yourself a good year too. Yeah, I like macadamium nuts. In fact, I eat too many of them. I should just grow my own macadamium nuts on a tree, but I mean, they do grow in this area. Just not as well as they can. A bit like citrus. John, what? Yeah, I remember the Scion organisers. I never really bothered repairing them, but I do remember them. Okay, chestnut pin 1 is up here. If any money would grow on trees, then money would be worthless, wouldn't it? Unfortunately. It's any trouble when you can finally get something to grow the way you want. It'll become worthless. Oh, for flip's sake, what are you doing? You mean about that strange way? Kev, originally it was just showing 24 milliamp, nothing else. And then we traced it down eventually to corrosion under the chestnut, which is why it's now being replaced. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff not quite working right. Start to squeeze a ball out there. Yeah, I'll probably push that a bit far actually. Yeah, see just at the back there. I should have known I was, but I was getting impatient. I did put the TriStar on the right way, didn't I? (16A3B), yep. And pin 1 to the bottom left, yep, that's all good. I got some viewers. How many viewers we got at the moment? It's not showing. 338 I'm showing here. Wayne, it was definitely the courier for the microscope. Yeah, I paid a fairly hefty price to get some decent shipping, and it took longer than it would if it was through normal shipping. So yeah, it was a pretty brutal insult. Hey Teresa. John, if you're looking at repairing Macs, well, I'm presuming you mean iMacs, as opposed to, I mean MacBooks, not iMacs, then look at whatever Lewis is charging and something around about that, and check your local market, I guess. That's really the way to go. Man, this is not... Oh yeah, I mean, Australians get absolutely shafted for shipping. It's slow, particularly if you're not in a major metro centre. Yeah, it's just, everything's wrong about it. Okay, 0, still 1 milliamp. That's kind of weird. It's great when you solve a problem and then nothing works. I mean, even if it was a shorted CPU or something, you should get something. But 0? Come on. Even with Mesa missing, it should still give me something. Basically, the trouble is if you don't have Mesa, I think your screen will tend to go black over time because it's not creating the opposing LCD voltages. Okay, I don't have Tigris. Do I need Tigris? No, I can put a replacement Tigris on, but I'm just curious, do I need it? Maybe the lead got botched there, so I'm starting to wonder if that was the case too. I mean, it's a little hairy, but it doesn't look broken at this point. Oh wait, yeah, it's broken off those contacts there. Alex Key, if they come knocking here, they're not going to find much because there ain't no booze in this place. It's one of the joyful things around here is no alcohol in the house anyway. Well, I'll give them some isopropylene. They won't like that much. Yeah, it's a pain, isn't it, Wayne? How you know it's coming from a place that's geographically so close, and yet it takes longer than pretty much anywhere else in the world. Kev Crazy Life, what's the usual cost of repair of an iPhone shop? Yeah, it depends what you're fixing. I don't do enough of them to have a solid idea on what my costs should be. And that's a bad thing. But usually it ends up around about the mid 200s to 300 depending on the job. A lot of times lately though I've been just handing the jobs off to other people like Bill down at A1 Mobiles because it's just easier for me to do that. If I can't fix it outright straight away or pretty close to straight away, if I feel like it's dragging me down, then yeah, I'm better off handing it off to Bill. Okay, we've got no charge current. What the hell? It's like my TriStar's not even playing the game. Seriously? It's really like my TriStar's not working. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll put this in, but we'll just fold away the... So we're definitely getting power in. God damn, like the people next door with their speakers. I know it's New Year's, but for flip's sake. Okay, no current being drawn. Let's press the explode button. Okay, now we've got something. We've got an Apple logo. We're alive. We're alive. Except this will fade out because I don't have my Mesa. You can see it's starting to fade. Yep, there it goes. It's looping, I think. Or is it the damn iOS 11 or whatever it was? Yeah, we've got a passcode screen coming up there and now it fades away. Yep. Okay. So we've got to get our Mesa back on so we can actually use it. Unbelievable. I'm not sure why it's not... We're going to have to check that TriStar. Something's not right there. Now Rodrigo, as you can see, it booted. But yeah, because I haven't got Tigris. For a different reason. Well, this person's going to be quite happy. They're a family friend. And so I didn't really send it off at great expense. And it was a year and a bit ago now, perhaps 2. Okay, so I've put Tigris back on. So I guess we got a good start to the new year. I'm actually surprised, to be honest. I'm glad we thought about that a little more rather than just plugging away in vain hope. Stephen Cole got it right. Fan spin. Yeah, screen's trash pad. I'll get it another one. It's a bit of a messy thing. I'm going to use my hot air wicking. If you can't stand the idea of wicking, then I suggest you look away. Yeah, I have to do it the other way because the wick's a little bit too wide. Kester, I wouldn't say I swear by any particular flux, but I do find the Amtech flux to be pretty good. I like its consistency more than I do the chip quick. But there's been a bit of a batch issue with the last set that I've got, so hopefully when I get the new batch it will be back to how it was, with happiness and things like that. I'm just looking for Tigris. I know I've got Tigris somewhere. We'll wick it real good. Yeah. I hope I didn't leave Tigris out on its own somewhere. What are you? U1401. Chestnut? Oh, here we go. It's got Tigris written on it on both sides, and I still missed it. See, bottom left for pin 1. Put it back in the container before I lose it again. Yeah, there's no fires up where I am, which is funny because we are further north, so we're generally hotter and drier, but in a way the reason why we don't have it as bad is because the hotter drier is a normal state of affairs for us, so we don't actually have the vegetation issue build up that they have down south, and it's the vegetation build up that's caused the problem. or always causes a problem, because that's a nice supply of kindling and burning stuff. I've still got to do Messer after this. Ah, damn it. Too much flux. Get out of here. What's going on? Oh, you kidding me? You melt. I hate it when it does that contact melting, where things really shouldn't have actually reflowed yet, but you let the balls touch onto the surface and all of a sudden it decides, oh, we'll do a surface weld for you. Hey, fixing things, yeah, we found the fault was under chestnut. There was a bunch of corrosion, and yeah, we're sort of back on the road. We've had a boot, but without our messer, obviously we can't stay. The screen doesn't stay up for long, so we just got to put messer back on, and we should be good to go. Now, I'm fairly sure I don't have any messer pre-done. Yeah, I'm near the goldfields. I'm in a place called Charters Towers, and yep, U1503. Actually, maybe I do have a 1503s. I kind of I could be lying to myself too. You know how when you're getting hopeful and you go through your set of parts and you're like, I'm U1502, L1503. Yeah, wishful thinking. I'm gonna have to reball one. Yeah, I saw that, Greg. But thank you for letting me know. But I did see that. I just didn't bother to do anything about it until I get back there. So we're going to take this messer and reball it, which is actually absolutely no fun at all. You would think smaller, low ball count chips are easier, but they're not. Things like TriStar are about the best sort of, things up to about 5x5 work pretty good. Yeah, the parts are pretty small. You do get used to it. Admittedly, I'm not that used to iPhone stuff. I do prefer MacBooks. It's not so much the smallness of the iPhone stuff, it's the density. Damn it. Oh man, there's corrosion under that one, so I'm not going to use that. Or is that corrosion, or is that... Actually, that's not corrosion. That is the CPU thermal transfer compound. Yeah, you can go live in that little piece of flux, like a little happy swamp monster. Have you seen the LBRY video? I have not. You need a high voltage for the touch sensing because that's how it sets up its field. Ah, no! Damn it. Great. Out of alcohol, just like my neighbours. When you get chips this size, you kind of sometimes just want to reball them manually, like with little blobs of solder rather than the proper way. Damn it. I'm ruining this messer driver. What's that? Please try it. That's Rodrigo saying. Rodrigo, I did try it without the messer, and like I said, it does boot and everything. It's just that you lose your screen after a while because it's not driving the polarizer planes on the LCD, and so it essentially does damage the LCD, but they're fairly tolerant of it. Yeah, it's better. At least we know we're booting. That's a hell of a lot better than what it's been the last 2 years or whatever that I've had it. Alright, now it's ready to get reballed. I think you need messer for the 5v7, don't you? Yeah, 16v5. I'm gonna need to put the passcode in. Okay, I'm wrong. That wasn't for the 5v7. That's my bad there. Oh, 5v7 comes from Chestnut. Sorry, but yeah, I do still need to use the touch, so I am gonna need my messer boost. So sorry about that. I was a bit off the mark there. Thank you for correcting me. And so I don't do these things every day, so I do tend to get them a little bit mixed up now and then. And now I'm going to have everybody correcting me 30 seconds after I already admitted it. Ah, damn. Lead infused IPA just running down my leg. That's so not good. Oh man, I'm gonna be like the old Romans, drinking lead and yuck. Okay, I'm pretty sure messer is actually one of these. 3x3. She might be able to get away with 3x4. Yeah, that'll do. She'll be right. Now, where's my paste? Maybe I should do a Tim Herman and do it manually. Yeah, actually, where is my paste? I got balls by the thousands. I suppose I could just put balls down rather than paste. I'm really not sure where the paste is. I'm just not sure if I got balls small enough for this. Maybe 0.2, 0.25. 0.24563. We'll see how 0.25s are. I have a feeling they might be a bit big. Kev's Crazy Life, what actually happened was someone else wrote a replacement for Landrex and they called it Open Boardview. And I started, there was a Linux version of it which was really good for me. And so I started contributing bits and pieces to it. No, they're too big. They will not fit in the crap. And after about 2 years of working on Open Boardview, I needed to either not do it anymore because it was costing me time, or I had to go and do something commercial with it, and that's when I forked it off to Flex Boardview as a commercial venture. Yeah, and that's pretty much. And to make it worth the money, I did the PDF combination with it. Damn it! Now I really need to find that paste. So yeah, the original idea was not mine. It was a chap called Chlorodite who wrote it. Found the paste. It's a bit of soul confession there, helps the universe deliver what I want. Okay, we're going to take one excessively large chunk of paste for this poor little chip. We're going to completely and utterly tsunami it. There. We do not put the paste back into the container because that's just a fine way of ruining a container's worth of paste. Jeff P, welcome back. Yeah, Kev, I mean, I've basically been a programmer for a very long time, since I was about 10. So that's, yeah, a long time now. My first commercial products were when I was about 15. So I was producing and selling software before I even got out of school. And just sort of, so overall, software development is really my primary gig. And then PC repairs, MacBook repair, yeah, repairs and IT is my side gig. Okay, I didn't even bother to look to see whether these balls are any good. Seems acceptable. It's not the greatest. There's a little bit of unevenness in them, but they're okay. As it is, the pads we're going to be putting them on are a bit uneven too. Alright, so pin 1 is bottom left, which is not according to this. For this, it will be bottom right, because I've changed the orientation. So turn another 90 degrees. So that's the orientation we want. I'm going to drop down a teeny tiny. Damn it! This is the problem with that one. You can't hold on to it. I should be using a toothpick as per Jason Vilmer. By the way, if you're not a subscriber of Jason Vilmer, SDS Telecom, it'd be worth your while to go subscribe to him. He's a pretty funny guy. And he does a lot of really good phone work too. There's a lot of people who do excellent phone work. He's certainly entertaining to watch. His biggest problem is that he doesn't produce enough videos. And I know why he doesn't, but I'm hoping he will change that over time. So definitely worth checking out Jason Vilmer's stuff, SDS Telecom. If you like iPhone repairs, well worth it. Thank you, Pedro. I knew someone would come good for that. Now I'm just hoping these balls will draw themselves. Yeah, you guys are not playing the game today, are you? And that damn CPU junk is in there. Not to mention hairs. So ideally you hold on to the chip a little bit until it gets that first bit of bite onto the pads. But this chip is just too tight. Even with these... Suppose I can try it like that. Watch me botch this. Especially with it being really hot in my fingertips. Oh wow, I actually did it. And down we go, the power of leaded solder. I hope this isn't long screw with that copper. No, this is just badly done, but it's all junk on the bottom. It's not actually long screw damaged. They're all clear, thankfully. Be a nightmare if they weren't, I agree. Alrighty. Let's find ourselves a better screen this time. Still yours, bro? No, you're a 6S. Can't steal 6S. Let's see. Looks like I've got a decent screen here. Actually, other than one crack in it, it's pretty much immaculate. Nice. Nice. Is that chassis? I'd love to know what happened to that baseband CPU, why it all of a sudden, just out of the blue, decided it had enough and it was time to basically commit harakiri on itself. I genuinely was not expecting that to do that. Okay, everything's clipped in nicely. Got a SIM tray that I can steal. I like putting the empty SIM tray in just to hold the board in place. Yeah, just in case you move things around, it stops it from doing anything too stupid, you hope. Okay, we've got a battery in. Let's see if we can now get any charge current. Still no charge current, interestingly. That's definitely got me perplexed. And that's going to be a problem because we're going to need... That's interesting. As I removed it, it showed up. Oh, there we go. 1 amp. So we've got a normal charge current going on. Maybe there's a bit of junk in the port. So we turn off this light. Yeah, I think maybe a dirty port. Let's see if it shows me the battery symbol. Yep, there we go. Oh, you guys can't see that. Damn it. Anyway, it's showing the battery charge symbol. So we're going to give this a little bit of time. Lets me catch up on chat. Where's my face gone? Not that I care that much, but... There we go. Weird. Turn this back on. Yeah, such a big difference. Have any experience with recovery tools like PC3000? No, I actually don't. I was about 7 years ago, I was looking at getting involved in all that, but in the end I just ended up relying on DD Rescue. If I can't get it with DD Rescue plus some other tools, like I have a USB controlled relay switches and things like that. If I can't get it with that, then I just send it off to someone else who's got a clean room system and or has invested in that sort of high amount of money. LBRY is a decentralized YouTube alternative. Okay. I gotta admit, I'm not really... I don't really do that stuff much. I am a bit boring mainstream. I don't have a lot of hacker roots in me or anything like that. For my CPUs and stuff, I just use Arctic... Arctic Aluminium or whatever it is, Aluminium. It's cheap, it works, it's very easy to spread, it's predictable, so I like it. Yeah, pretty much Paul Howe's point of view there. Okay, I'm not sure how many milliamps, let's see. Usually with iPhone 6s, I think you get to around about 150, 200 milliamp hour into the battery and it should fire up. Personally, I found CPU pace, things like that, I do not find it affects more than about 3, maybe 4 degrees centigrade at the most. And which is why I don't bother with getting exotic on any of it, because it's 3 to 4. Someone turns on an air conditioner, it changes it all anyway. Yeah, Travis, exactly. Most of the time, thermal transfer compound is not that great at transferring heat itself. It's more a case of it does a decent enough job, but it's there to try and fill out the imperfections between the metal-metal surface mating. Ideally, you should be able to... the ideal situation is that you've lapsed the surface of the heatsink and the CPU so well that they pretty much just stick together without you doing anything. But, yeah, that doesn't happen too often. The CPUs are pretty good because they're almost that mirror finish already, but the bottom of the copper CPU coolers, not so much. Any thoughts on the RISC-V for the future? I think it'll always be a relevant chipset for most things, for most microcontroller setups. I don't believe that we're going to see any serious competitors to the x86 architecture for quite a while. I think it'll always just be now x86 and it'll morph into other things. I know some people are saying that ARM's going to come along and, whatever the Apple latest ARM processor is going to come along and kick the pants off Intel, but it really just is not. there may be some things that they can do exceptionally well, faster than a general purpose Intel type system, but overall, for an operating system and general purpose computer, the ARM chipsets are never going to get to the point where they beat the pants off Intel, and certainly not in terms of performance per watt of power. When it comes to performance per watt, Intel still generally leads the way quite a bit. It is going to be interesting to see how AMD go over the next, say, 2 years. They're having a good run now, and AMD has in the past had a good run, but then they have a tendency to drop the ball. Particularly when Intel just decides, I'll stuff it, and they like really put their mind to what they're doing. My voice is now starting to trash out on me. Yeah, I mean, ARM's been, a type of risk. AMD is leading with the Ryzen at the moment, but that's just it. It's kind of like when AMD beat the pants off Intel with the P4 situation and the Opterons. The Opterons are a beautiful chipset. They really were a chip, not chipset. But yeah, they got a bit lazy and they fell back, and then when Intel came out with the core architecture, it really knocked everybody out the park. Alright, here we go. Just a bit of yabbering till... Crikey, it's nearly 2 o'clock in the morning. Jeez, that's taken us a long time. Yes, AMD staying ahead is the hard part for them. Now, I know it just flashed there, but I think this has got the iOS version that does that. I guess we'll see soon enough. I do wish that AMD had done better with the Opterons after their main run. This is beautiful. Emergency. We've got full touch and everything. Cancel. Home button. This is fantastic. So we've got a win. Now, because this has been 2 years since the person handed it to me, I am... wait. I actually have the passcode on there. We're in. Holy dooly, we are in after all these years. Okay, general, about... Yep. 999 photos, 225 videos, 32 gigs. Okay, looks like we're going to back this up, and this will be a good New Year's present to this person, because they're, like I said, they're a family friend. They've done a lot of nice things for us with animals and things like that, so I'm going to be very happy to do this. So with that, I think I'm going to finish up. I'm going to put this onto the machine that I can use to get the photos off. And thank you very much for persisting through this. This has been a 2-hour, 22-minute long stream. So yeah, thank you for hanging around. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just meddling around. 300 odd people still watching. Thank you very much. All right, so thank you all. Have a new year, good new year, and hopefully you have successes like this tonight. Bit of persistence pays off, and don't throw away those phones that you can't fix now, or the MacBooks, because maybe you can fix them later. And of course, unless NL's been around and blown the CPU up, in which case, yeah, boot it or throw it towards NL. So thank you all, everyone. Take care. Watch out for the dingoes. Don't let the bunyips get you and drag you into the cesspits. I'll see you next time.